There aren't that many better feelings than getting your own back on someone you absolutely despise. Let's get into these stories. Mice helped me fire my wicked step manager. Backstory: I was working in a popular coffee shop chain in a high-volume, swanky location as a barista. We were specially trained to make fancier, novelty drinks compared to other locations. I loved my team and my manager, and for the most part, everyone got along. Then, my manager informed us that she was moving to another location and we would be getting a new store manager. This new manager, who we will call Jack, was an old assistant manager from this location. He trained here before becoming the store manager of his own location. Jack would be returning to be our new manager since he had experience in these fancier stores from his training days. Everyone in the store dreaded his return. From what I gathered, Jack was a butthole when he was an assistant manager. Oh my god. Just to confirm, this is not me in this story despite us having the same name. Within the first few weeks, things went downhill. He started writing up certain baristas constantly for infractions that others got away with. He slashed everyone's hours from full-time to part-time, claiming that our job description never stated we are entitled to full-time. One barista went from 39.75 hours a week to 16.5. Jack claimed our company had no write-up expiration date, so he was writing up baristas based on clock-in lateness within our time management software, from when our old manager still ran the store. People went from a clean record to final warning within one meeting with him. Those who had worked with him before organised themselves into a list of who would get fired next. We didn't suspect there was a personal vendetta against certain baristas who knew him when he was an assistant manager. We knew there was. One by one, several people were fired, all in the order they knew that they would be fired. Others found jobs elsewhere. It became a race against the clock. Either quit or wait to be fired for something trivial. We brought up these issues with our district manager, but he ignored them. Slashing hours and cutting corners, including cutting corners on cleaning standards, was proving to be beneficial to the district manager, and he was not interested in helping us. I was badly burned by our drip brewer, and he refused to help me fill out the workers' comp report as he was too busy placing the weekly order. I had extremely bad cramps in my thigh and went to urgent care. I was one of the last walk-ins at the clinic and left after they closed. When I sent him a picture of the doctor's notes, he googled the location from the letterhead and claimed I faked the note since the place was supposed to be closed. Jack belittled me and other baristas on the cafe floor in front of customers. My mental and physical health suffered. When one of my good friends was fired, I quit with nothing else lined up because I feared I was either going to break down or get fired. This friend, Anthony, got me a job at my current workplace. After Anthony got fired, he struggled to make ends meet with just the one job. I helped him out by preparing large batches of food and dropping them off at his workplace. I met his manager and got an interview the following week. I'd been working at this new place for probably 2 months when the most magical thing happened to me. Here we go. The incident. I finished a closing shift at my current job and was passing by my old store, which was closed for the day, when I saw 2 mice running around the lobby. I filmed it. I guess cutting corners and cleaning and health standards was causing a bit of a rodent issue. In a rush of pent-up anger, watching my team get fired over nothing, watching Anthony struggle to eat, suffering at the hands of Jack myself, I posted the video to Instagram and tagged the store in it. I posted photos and links to the video on Yelp, Google reviews, the company page, the customer complaint email, everywhere. I figured at most I was going to be the fly in his ointment and annoy him and the district manager. Then I sent the video of the mice to the Department of Health. A couple days later, the Department of Health served the coffee shop a notice saying they were preparing to do a full inspection. I hear this news from my barista friends. A couple weeks go by and my current job has a turn in management itself. We weren't getting our legally mandated half-hour breaks and I am put on 9-hour shifts with no meals. Thankfully, HR was much more sincere than the coffee shop HR, so I arranged a meeting. I stopped by my old coffee shop before my meeting to say hello to the few friends who still work there. I noticed Jack and the district manager were there. I grabbed a water and sat down to organize my HR meeting notes. Not even a half hour later, the shift supervisor approaches my area and tells all the cafe customers to leave, as the health department has just shut them down. She just turns to me and says, "Yes, it was your mice. They found out we have an infestation." Then walks away. Jack and the district manager don't even make eye contact with me. I gleefully return to my current workplace and tell Anthony how I was actually there to see justice happen, justice that I started with my own hands. He tells my co-workers and even my managers find out out, I shut down a whole store from one report. HR catches wind of this story before our meeting, and I've never been in a more polite, apologetic HR meeting. My managers were reprimanded, and we had all breaks restored to us. All the departed/5 baristas took pictures in front of the Department of Health shutdown notice that was taped to the store door. The windows were shuttered up and the place was vandalized several times. They started the cleaning process and the inspector will return to clear it again. About 2 weeks after the store shut down, I get a call from the coffee shop's HR department. Apparently, whenever they have something like this happen, they look through the records of the store. Between the mass exit of seasoned baristas and the complaints made to the district manager and HR, they had a novel about my old cafe. The HR rep asked me why I left, and the first words out of my mouth are, "I left because of Jack the manager, and the district manager is complicit in his actions." They call all of the ex-baristas and a couple current baristas for their stories with Jack, all negative. Jack was fired and was banned from working with the company. He packed up and moved across the country. The fancy location was taken from the district manager, and now he only oversees basic cafes. I got promoted at my current job to assistant director of the site, to oversee HR compliant overhaul to improve the workplace based on my knowledge of OSHA and state labour laws. Anthony and the other 5 baristas were offered their jobs back, which Anthony accepted. He is in a better financial situation now. I genuinely love stories like this, where one person at the top of a management hierarchy who is a butthole is finally served justice by someone below him. What's amazing is that everyone got their jobs offered back to them and Jack was finally hooked. All I can say to this is nice job. Can I leave that in? I'm gonna leave it in. Oh, who cares? Moving on to our next story. You took $200, you lost $21,000. So, most users of computers will probably have some experience with this. You know when you're online shopping and sometimes a box pops up and says click this, promo code, sign up, yada yada? Well, we know they are scams. My mistake, I first clicked the wrong X. They put a fake one on the top and I clicked it. I immediately shut the page and thought that was the end of it. Nope. So the site I bought the Hanukkah gift I was getting for my mother sold my credit card information to the pop-up. I activated that when I clicked the wrong X. I was a teenager, relatively new to my checking account. I checked my statement for December and all was well. I didn't check for the next couple months because I didn't use it for anything. There should be no charges. I know better now. When I did check, I noticed all these small insignificant charges that weren't mine. Always less than $10 and usually around $2, but the multiple charges added up to just over $200. When I looked into this, I found the connection. I called the thieving company and told them they stole my information and are illegally charging my card. They didn't deny it, but they also didn't care. I wanted my money back. They refused repeatedly. I gave them so many chances to fix everything with just that. I eventually warned them I would have to sue if they didn't give back what they stole. They just laughed. Turns out there was a class action suit in progress, which my lawyer used as leverage for a quick payout. We sued for fraud and violation of federal communication laws. What they are doing is very illegal and happens every day. This included a lot of popular stores and websites. Since they were 100% in the wrong and committed a crime, and I was a child who bought her mother a gift, I won the case. I received a judgment of $21,000. I told them it would all go away by just refunding my $200, but they refused. They seem to think a teenager threatening to sue a massive corporation that does nothing but break the law wasn't much of a threat. What they should have noticed was that I was buying a Hanukkah gift. Hanukkah. Everyone I know is a lawyer. Oh my god. Yeah, I was about to ask how you found a lawyer for just a $200 loss, but then I fully read the post and I understand now. I'm glad you have Jewish friends willing to fight for you. Moving on to our final story. A client refused to pay, so I had some fun. I just love titles like this because I have no idea what's about to happen. Anyway, let's get into it. When I have the time and come across interesting projects or clients, I take on one-off assignments to create websites, graphics, applications, etc. for said clients. I recently had a client for whom I created a website. Their old website looked like it was created in the early 90s, but it drew a lot of traffic, so the need to update was clear. Like always, we first agreed on the scope and design, and my client showcased his competitors' websites for me, explaining what kind of things he absolutely wanted for his site, but better, as he put it. I then had him sign a standard contract and pay a small upfront fee. Everything went smoothly and I got to work. After the project finished and I sent an invoice to my client, he told me that he wouldn't be paying anymore. During the few days that I'd worked, he had watched some YouTube videos about creating websites and he had come to the realization that he, without any prior experience in web design or programming, could create an equally impressive massive site in pretty much the same time I had, and so he didn't feel like he should pay me anything extra. I reminded him of our contract and he flat out said that I'm free to take him to court, but he won't be paying me. Obviously, I had no intention of taking him to court because it would result in more headache than it'd be worth, but I wasn't just going to let this slide. The website was already live and teeming with visitors, but my clients, although they were a newfound web design professional, hadn't realized that I was still the only one who had access to the site's back end, which meant that I could make any changes to the site and he couldn't do anything about it. So I remembered how he had told me about all of his competitors' websites. I figured the appropriate response would be to write a script that replaces his company's contact details and opening hours with those of his competitors. Every time the site would load, the script would randomly show one of the competitors' contact details instead. I also made it so that the contact form request would be sent to a randomly selected competitor's email. I chose not to inform my client of this and went on to enjoy my vacation. Within a week, I received several emails and a call about my client's concerns that something was wrong, that he hadn't received a new client through the site in almost a week, even though the site's visitor count is much higher than before, thanks to the new design and improved SEO that he hadn't yet paid for. So I let him know what I had done and I told him that I would undo it, but it would take me about an hour, for which I would be charging. Since I was on vacation, I'd apply the rush fee stated on the contract for that hour. And of course, I told him that this would all be added on top of the original fee that he owed me, plus interest for late payment. Naturally, this led to insults and threats being thrown in my direction, to which I calmly responded that I will begin work once I have the money on my account. And if he doesn't want to lose any more customers to his competitors, he'd best man up quick. He tried to call me immediately and I just declined the call. After the second attempt to call me again, I sent him directly to voicemail. I received an express payment to my account the very next morning. This is just another beautiful revenge story. It blows me away that people are willing to essentially steal life without any shame. Good for you on this revenge. I love how he's like, yeah, just because I watched a video on how to do this sort of design, I'm not going to pay you for doing this design. It doesn't make any sense. Anyway, that is the end of this r/ProRevenge video. Now, you guys may be mostly familiar with my entitled parent stories, but I actually have done a few ProRevenge videos in the past. So if you want more, click on this one on screen right away. With that being said, I will see you all very soon with some more Reddit content.